Oh, that's gone a mile. That has gone out of the ballpark. Look at that. On the roof or even over it.
On the roof.
Another foot dance,
And maybe even over it. Yes. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Sports Spotlight. Once again, I've managed to jack up the equipment here. I think I did drop Rahul. Hopefully, he'll be calling back. Otherwise, we'll wrap up the cricket conversation here. Hold on. There we go. All right. Radio Azad, you're on the air. Rahul, welcome back, man.
Welcome. Thank you, Rizwan. Sorry, I don't know how the call got disconnected.
No, it's on my end. So I keep asking the suits here to get me an intern who can handle the equipment, because clearly, have I ever shared with you Rizwan's first law of object manipulation?
Yes.
You got to be
Repeat
smarter.
it again, please.
Yeah, you got to be smarter than the object to manipulate it. And I clearly am not smarter than this phone equipment here, because I keep jacking it up. So apologies for dropping you. Thank you for calling back. We're going to wrap up the conversation real quick, because there is a lot to discuss, but unfortunately, there's just not enough time. By the way, in that match between Bangladesh ladies and Indian ladies, 1 over left now. Bangladesh is sitting at 108 at a loss of 8. So I think it's going to be an easy victory for India, and they should be able to move further up into solidify at least that fourth, and maybe start working toward that third spot on the points table. So let's talk about, actually, I want to, you said you really wanted to talk about Team India, obviously. So let's start with that. So India, Australia.
So let's talk about Pakistan, because Pakistan had played a really good series against West Indies or South Africa, which got drawn by 1-1.
Oh man, that first test, and I know this is probably that's fine. We can start with that because this test was something like right up your alley. This is what you like, right? A hard fought, closely contested, dominated by bowling and the field more so than the batting. Eventually, Pakistan won this, kind of running away, 93 runs, but it was a closely fought match through and through. Each team showing different areas of strength in each innings, right? So you said you wanted to talk about it, and then it was a little bit of a resurgence of Babar Azam after a long downtime. So let's talk about that match first.
Sure. So one thing that every country should have learned from India's loss to New Zealand is that you need to have the resources to manipulate the ground conditions. I obviously like the fact that bowlers need to be in play. Now, that can be on two sides. You can have, a really fast bowling paradise where fast bowlers are in the game, or you can have a spinner's paradise when you have that kind of spinners. But you have to remember that your batsman needs to be capable of playing good game against spin.
Mhm.
Pakistan resorted to this technique with the resurgence of Sajid Ali, Noman. Sajid, I'm forgetting his last name, but Sajid.
It's
Noman
Sajid
Ali.
Khan and Noman Ali. Yeah.
Yeah. So they have great spinners. They have much more great spinners. Even Shadab Khan and Abrar Ahmed and Sufyan Mukim and this Asif Ayub, I think, who was man of the match, and he took
Asif
not the man of the
Afridi.
match, but he
Asif
took,
Afridi. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
So
A
they have good-
debutant at 38 years of age, man.
yeah. So I mean, life can change for you at any point. That's a good statement from his performance. But problem was, in the first match they survived because Senura Mutasami, if I remember correctly, took 6 wickets, and South African just folded, even though they have better player of spin, Aidan Markram and Ewald Brewis, and even other players. But they just somehow folded, which was a fluke in my opinion. It's my opinion, and I stand by it. So I didn't think that Pakistan would have won that game. But, luck favors you sometimes. You can be on the good end of the draw. And that's what happened with Pakistan. What proved me right was the second match, because Pakistan just does not have the ability to play good spin like India right now. So that's my analysis. Let's have your thoughts, and I can provide you with more data.
Well, so look, that first match really, really stood out for me with the way the teams kind of went back and forth, right? Pakistan scores 378 right off the bat. And then the spinners took hold and got South Africa all done at 269. And then, when it felt like Pakistan was going to kind of run away with the match, South Africa bowling then woke up in that second inning and got Pakistan all done at 167. And then Pakistani bowling really, and of course, field conditions matter. By then, there was the field was a lot more conducive to the spin at that point. But you play the cards that you're dealt. You play the field that you're given, right? And Pakistan bowling absolutely took advantage of it. So I would disagree with the flukiness of it. It was too. And it was surprisingly so because Pakistan has not been good lately. But it would, and of course, South Africa is coming off of the championship, the Test championship that ran across to 23 to 25, right? I felt that was a statement win and a back and forth in a vacuum. If you don't look at the history of the two teams, it was like two champions going at it, starting with the batting, throwing haymakers, and eventually Pakistan's spin attack winning out and winning it by 93 runs. I mean, anytime you win a test match by almost 100 runs, I don't know if you can call it fluky. But that second match,
Here's my one statement data. Keshav Maharaj was missing from that team, and the captain, South Africa are without Temba Bavuma, one of their better player of spin, was not there. But forget about
you
Temba
play
Bavuma. Let's
you
just
play the
say
yeah you
Keshav
play
Maharaj was not there. And if Keshav Maharaj would have been there, that conversation would have been much different.
and if my grandmother had wings, she would fly. I mean, so we can't we can't say ifs. And you play the field that you're given. You play the team that's opposite you. So you can always say if and buts. But I felt that Pakistan took that match just like South Africa took that second match. I mean, it was a it was not close, right, in that second match, where South Africa ended up really wrapping things up in that second inning. Now it started the same way, and we've really got to wrap it up in a minute. And I'm so sorry we're not going to be able to get to the India match, but that's okay. That match will have progressed. That series will have progressed a lot more next Sunday, and we can start things off with that next Sunday. But yeah, so South Africa came back and won very, very handily. I would say that second match was less close, more of a runaway for South Africa than the first one was for Pakistan. Uh, what's frustrating to me is not having a third test match in this series, just having a two-match series. So you end up with a 1-1 series tie, and that's just frustrating. But I think all in all, a good start by Team Pakistan that they needed in this Test Championships
Let me
that's just getting
let me just
started.
give you one nugget.
Mhm.
Who is the man of the match of that second match, and who came into the team?
The guy you
that
mentioned, Keshav Maharaj, right? He came in and
so
really But here's the thing, Rahul. I can say this match was a little as a Pakistani fan. If I took off my analyst hat and put on a Pakistani fan hat, I would say, oh, this was a little fluky because the bowlers ended up scoring 150 runs after South Africa had been wiped out by the Pakistani. The top and middle order had been wiped out by the Pakistani attack. It was a little fluky because the bowlers ended up getting them back in the game, and that momentum carried over. So, point is, you've taught me this. You've talked about this. The test match is a long match, and you can't play 1 day, 2 day, or 3 days. You got to play all 5 days. And South Africa absolutely showed up for all 5 days and won the second match. And we'll see how the rest of the series shakes out, because the first T20I is going to start this Tuesday. There are going to be 3 T20s and then 3 ODIs. So we're going to be talking about Pakistan, South Africa for a while, and that'll be good. Next week, I promise you, we're going to get started with Team India first. But Rahul, always a pleasure. Thank you for joining us, and we'll talk next week. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right.
You.
Thank you, sir. All right, that was Rahul, and now with me on the airwaves of Radio Azad. Hold on. Let's do this. Here we go.
That leads the league. Pressure off the edge, and it's intercepted. D'Angelo Pons roll out the big red carpet touchdown.
Roll out the big red carpet touchdown, Indiana. Yes, it must be football time. And do I have Shep on the air? I do not. Let's try it one more time. All right. Shep, you there? Come on, man. I can't. What am I not doing right with the equipment? All right. Shep is not there.
I am here.
Oh, there we go. Yes. I can handle the equipment. I don't know if you were listening, and I know I've shared this with you. I think I'm sure I'm going to tell myself this, that my listeners love to hear all of these Rizwan originals from me, right? So have I ever shared with you Rizwan's first law of object manipulation?
You have to be 2 orders of IQ higher than the object you're trying to manipulate.
Exactly. So, yeah, I don't know what that says. Actually, I do know what that says about me.
That's actually something my dad often says as
well.
Nice.
Great minds think alike. And Mr. Shepard is, for the listeners, that would be Shep's dad. Mr. Shepard is an intelligent man indeed. It's always a pleasure. Hey, by the way, all right, we're going to get right to it, because, mentioning your dad reminded me of the Egg Bowl, which reminded me about the Egg Bowl coming up, and the fact that I will be in town for Thanksgiving.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So hopefully I can find the time to go catch the game, and hopefully Mississippi State can beat that little junior college up in Oxford in that game. And man, oh man, that refreshed the pain from yesterday.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
So look, we talked about it. We talked about how, hey, we're probably going to lose to Texas, even though Texas has this this tendency under Sarkisian tendency to leave points on the field, and man, they did not leave.
We just gave points away left and right yesterday.
We did.
The illegal block on the kicking team to give them an extra set of downs, they turned into a touchdown. That's 4 points. Could have mattered in a game that went to OT.
Yep.
The roughing the passer after we had them stopped when they were down 17, it gave them 7. That's 11 points. Could have helped in a game that went to OT. We had a kick block. That's 3 extra points. Well, what are we up to now? 14 points.
In a game that went to
OT.
Yeah.
Out kicking your coverage to one of the most dangerous returners in the nation that led to a touchdown. 21 points off of just Mississippi State mistakes.
I mean, look, this was at the half. It looked like we had hope, right? At the half, we're up 24-14, and we've looked good, and we had hope. After the third quarter, being up 31-14,
and then 38-21 after the long booth catch and run.
Yeah.
So I don't. It's a really painful game to talk about, but there are a couple things that really come away from me. One, the offense can't run the ball on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1.
Mm-hmm.
We just can't, which means that's an offensive line problem. We can, if we have more space to operate, teams feel obliged to cover more things. But we can't run the ball in 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, which means that that down and distance, which is really makeable for most teams, is like a death knell for our offense.
Yeah,
so
we've got to avoid it. Yep.
But secondly, this team is 3 plays away from being 7-1, and we're 4-4, and the winless streak in the SEC continues. We lost 2 overtime games, and then the debacle last week against Florida, where we could have just not thrown an interception while we were already in field goal range and we beat them.
Yeah.
So right now we got to figure out how to not lose games. You know, the sideline reporter yesterday was Alyssa Lang, and before Texas's drive, while they were down 17, she said she overheard the defensive coordinator, Hutzler, telling the team no stupid penalties that gives them free plays. And what did we do? It wasn't the most egregious roughing the passer penalty I've ever seen, but it was an easy call.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, there's no
question if State wins the game if Deontay Anderson doesn't commit that roughing the passer penalty.
Yep.
Because we'd have had the ball on their side of the field with 10 minutes left. I mean, we just absolutely in a nutshell, kudos to Texas for making the plays they had to. Mississippi State, not as talented, out-coached Texas for the majority of the game, and then choked it away.
Yeah. So look, I'm a silver lining guy, right? But I wanna go back to what you just said. Mississippi State not as talented. So on paper, absolutely. You know, Texas has. It's not even close. How many more blue chippers? How many more 5-star athletes, 4-star athletes they have? Absolutely true. But I think at this point, sitting in week 8 with Mississippi State sitting at 4-4 and having really, you know, as you said, 4 plays away from being 7-1, I think we need to reevaluate what we think the talent on this team is. What my takeaway from this is, we can score. We can really, really score on these SEC teams. I mean, hanging 38 and having a 21.
Move the ball. Like the veer and shoot, right? The Levy's offensive system that he got from his father-in-law, Art Briles, right? Mm-hmm. In college, it is a great system to move the ball because it requires less reading of the defense by the quarterback. It's basically a one side of the field read and done. It spreads things out. We've got speed in our wide receivers. We've got athletic wide receivers, but we don't have as good offensive line and we don't have a mobile quarterback.
Yeah.
And that kills us in offense. And then on defense, we don't have enough depth on the defensive line to stay strong all game. Our defensive line has actually been relatively salty the first halves of games this year, and they start to fade near the end of the third quarter. But that's a depth issue. State's got more talent on their team than they did last year. There's no question about that. But
we just needed to start translating into wins, man.
Yeah, and Levy, look, I'm not as down on Levy as a lot of the online fan bases because everybody's hurting over the losses. You feel like he's almost there. He's just got to get 1 or 2 games this year to restore a little bit of faith in him. And if he goes winless in the SEC this year, I don't think you can fire him because he's only his second year. But man, his seat is blazing hot.
Yeah.
But maybe not as hot as a Mr. Kelly in Baton Rouge.
Sorry about that. That's a great segue. So yeah, I think Mississippi State. Look, next week against Arkansas. That's look. You know, in a 4-4 season, there's no with the gauntlet of the SEC ahead. There's nothing that you can really call a must-win, but I think that's a must-win.
Take the over, whatever it is.
Yeah. It might be close to 60, but still take the over for sure.
Well, I think the over, if it's not 60, if it's below 60, the person who's never once placed a bet on sports is going to seriously consider
take out a mortgage and put it on it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's going to be points points aplenty in that game at Arkansas, Mississippi State at Arkansas. But I'm just saying that's going to be a must win, because after that it's hosting Georgia, it's playing at Missouri, and then hosting Ole Miss.
Yeah, playing at Missouri is rough. Even though they're down to their third string QB now, their first two strings having been carted off the field this year. One yesterday against Vandy.
Yeah.
Pribula, I mean, that's a killer. I mean, I think actually Missouri wins that game. Pribula doesn't get hurt, but he did. So,
yep.
Kudos to Vandy.
So yeah, I'm gonna be watching this game at Arkansas, hoping that Mississippi State can pull it off. All right. But the focus has been we've been very selfishly focused on Mississippi State. Kudos to Sark for actually having the team take advantage of the opportunity after opportunity.
I don't give him any credit for that game whatsoever. I'm sorry. The advantage
they should have never been that far down. Yeah.
Over Mississippi State's program.
Yeah.
That look, I think Sark's got a great offensive design, and I think he's brought Texas kind of quote unquote back, to use the joke. But man, his offensive line is awful.
Yeah.
Right? And his defense is getting a lot worse as the year goes on. They were salty at the beginning of the year, and their safety being out can't be the only reason why they're having such problems now. Sark's got some self-reflection to do. I don't think Manning's the problem. If he is, you can't tell because that offensive line is so bad.
Yep.
He's got some things he's got to figure out before the offseason, because the Texas team is cooked. They're not going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I think it's going to get away. I don't see them in any way, shape, or form being able to beat Georgia at Georgia. They might not beat Vandy next week.
No, I think Vandy. I would put Vandy as the favorite to win that game. I think they've got Vandy at home.
They do. So they've got Vandy at home, and then at Georgia, then hosting Arkansas, which again, I don't see them as a definitive favorite in any of these games. I think Arkansas, by virtue of having them at home, I would say Texas is going to be.
They're going to beat Arkansas.
Yeah,
pretty handily. I think that they could lose to Vandy. I think they could lose to Georgia, and I think they could lose to Texas A&M. They can end up with 5 losses.
Yep. And to me, that difference in resources, the amount of resources presented. Again, I'm not one for moral victories, right? But in this game between Texas and Mississippi State yesterday, you end up having to mount a furious comeback fueled by a lot of mistakes from your opponent to score 24 in the fourth to win in overtime. That to me is a loss for Sarkisian. Like, that's not a win.
Yeah, we may not believe in moral victories, but I do sometimes believe in moral losses.
Yeah.
And look, he won, so he can sell some things to his team. But they got. There's just no way. There's just no way you can sit there and think that, given the relative disparity in talent available to both teams and overall resources, program resources, that Texas and Mississippi State should ever go to overtime.
Yep. Yeah, it was. I don't know if he survives if he has 5 losses at the end of the season.
He'd survive this year because of the 2 playoff years prior to that. But next year, like I said earlier, his seat would be high going into it. If they don't fix the offensive line, yeah.
All right, let's. Where do we want to? Let's move over to the Missouri and Vandy game then. So, do you think this was a factor of? I know you already said that if their second string quarterback doesn't get hurt, Missouri wins this game. But in spite of that injury, Vandy's defense is really, really salty, and it's gonna keep them in a lot of games, even not just where they are right now, sitting at 7-1, 3-1 in the SEC. How. Who had that on their bingo card for 2025?
Yeah.
But it's going to keep them in these games. Vandy at Texas, then they host Auburn, then they host Kentucky.
I think you're looking at Vandy. probably being a low side 9-3 team. I think they could probably I think that there's still a really good shot of them being 11-1 at the end of the season because I think they can beat Texas. I think they can beat. Obviously, they can beat Auburn. They can beat. They're going to beat Kentucky.
Yeah.
And that Tennessee game is going to be rough because it's going to be in Knoxville.
Yeah, but it just comes down to what kind of momentum you've built at that point,
Yes.
where Tennessee is, where Vandy is, and in college football, you know as well as I do that momentum in those late season games matters so much.
Oh yeah, I mean, and look at Arizona State last year. They weren't a great team, but they kept like a boulder going downhill. They kept getting better as the year went along, and that was Vandy's actually, I think, a better team than Arizona State was last year.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, I'm really curious to see what Vandy does, and I'm super curious to see what Vandy looks like post Diego Pavia if he doesn't win his court case to get those JUCO years of eligibility back, so he can play till he's 32 at Vandy.
Yeah. All right. We are a couple of minutes past the break time, so let's take a quick break and come back and wrap up some college conversation, and then we're gonna go to the pros. And as painful as it is, the pain has only just begun because we're gonna talk about the NBA season getting going and what that ongoing pain is going to be for the next 6-7 months now. We'll get into that after pro football. But hey, during this break, I'm going to give when we come back, I'm going to really quick give after the college conversation, give the injury update on all the fantasy football stuff. But I'm going to be doing that during the break because for all my teams, because normally I try to take care of this Saturday night, but last night was a long night. I came home about 2:30 or 3, fell asleep, woke up, and headed out to the studio. So I've got to take care of all my fantasy football teams before games get going. We're less than an hour away from that. So we'll be back after a 5-minute break with more sports spotlight right here, finishing up football, college, and then moving on to the pros. You're listening to the Sports Spotlight right here on Radio Azad.
This is Radio Azad, where your voice matters. Stream